presented by Ram, continues on ABC Action News Now.
All right, that is the Plank Report coming up a little early there, Jordan. You know, he's like this. He's like, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what he's doing back there. I never know what he's doing back there.
Well,
Jordan is our director here. Technical director? What's your title?
Director of what? I have no idea.
He's yawning. I think he was sleeping.
It could be. Well, anyway, welcome back, and we appreciate it because, frankly, you got to be a trooper to be here because this is, firstly, a mediocre show, and then 2-11, come on.
What are you going to do? You're 2-11. You're last in the league in almost every statistical category.
Right.
You're battling for the first overall draft pick.
Well, absolutely. Right now, they're in great position.
They are.
And I think when we bring in Greg Allman here right now from the Tampa Bay Times, who's a Buccaneer beat reporter, I think Greg would agree. We would love to see the Buccaneers get the first round pick, wouldn't we, Greg?
It'd be fun. It would. It definitely it adds some life to the spring, and it gets the national media interested in the Bucs.
Greg, you didn't sound convinced.
No, I'm not. I'm convinced it'd be fun. I'm not convinced they'll get the pick.
Oh yeah, not either.
But no, I think it would definitely be intriguing. It's been ages since they've had a number one overall pick. So, I'd certainly welcome that development, even if it meant a few losses.
Okay, if you had the number one pick here, Mr. Allman.
Oh, you're putting him on the spot.
Yes, I am. Who would you take?
If I had the number one overall pick, I would probably deal it. I would probably get the best package I could get and trade down, 5 or 6 picks. Try and get that RG3 special the Rams got a couple of years back. I don't think this is a team that's one player away, so I'd have to really, really be enamored by somebody to go in at 1 and not take a package of a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and all those kind of things.
I like your thinking.
I do too, but I think a lot of teams now are maybe a little apprehensive to do that after what's happened with RG3.
Oh, no, trust me. I think that the Herschel Walker buzz wore off, and then the Redskins did that again. Now, I don't think you'll get quite that package of 3 1s and a 2 and everything else. But, I like Mariota. I don't know if I like him enough to invest the future of franchise in him, but I've been impressed with what I've seen so far.
Well, all right, Greg, let's talk about these comedians as they head to Charlotte. What's your observations this week? Let me ask you something. 2 days ago, I was watching Lovey's press conference, his daily press conference Wednesday. He sounded really down. He looked down. Was there anything to this? Is there anything something going on over there we don't know about, or am I just kind of taking that out of proportion?
They're 2-11, Tom.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen a scoreboard recently. No, I don't really beyond that. I think Lovey. It's a grind of a season, and this is something where he's answering questions about who his quarterback's going to be. I don't think it's necessarily a fun time for him right now, but no, I think he's still very focused on trying to get this team to win and get some momentum in the off season. I think if they can get some wins, obviously it hurts them in the draft, but it probably helps them in terms of maybe convincing some free agents this is a good place to be and a place that can turn around quickly.
Do you believe Lovey when he said that there was no conversation whether or not to start Mike Glennon at all this week?
Lovey likes Josh McCown a lot. I'll start by saying that. I'm sure there's a conversation to it, I think Josh got beat up physically on Sunday in a way he really hasn't been this year. I think the line is what's dictating that as much as anything. Glennon hasn't been substantially better than McCown. I think he has done some things better than Josh has. I think he's limited his mistakes better. Right now they're trying to decide what their parts are for 2015, what they want to keep and what they don't want to keep. And they've got a big decision to make as to, even if you take a quarterback at number 1, you're going to keep a veteran to pair with him and kind of be that bridge quarterback that helps you until that new guy is ready to step in. So they have to decide if it's worth making a $5 million investment in Josh McCown to be that guy next year, or they can get by with somebody else.
Well, Greg, doesn't it make sense maybe to not start him and start Glennon? Or do you think, regardless of what happens, win or lose on Sunday against the Panthers, they'll put Mike Glennon to start the last 2 games of the season, at least get that one final look to see what direction they want to go? Do they trade him in the offseason and keep McCown for the next young quarterback, or vice versa? Or
interject
on that. What do you think?
The easiest way for me to explain the way they've handled Mike Glennon is the possibility that they're not impressed with Mike Glennon and they don't think he's the future of this franchise, but they want to be able to get something for him in trade. And if that's the case, then you'd stick with McCown. Again, if Glennon comes in and plays well, then they look bad for having not played him all along. If he plays poorly, it lowers his value in terms of whatever mid or late round pick they could get for him if they drafted a quarterback and wanted to deal him away. So I understand it probably more so than most fans do. I just think they're in the process of evaluating these players, and I think they've made their evaluation on Mike Glennon.
And I agree. And real quick, if I had my prediction, I think they deal Glennon in the offseason and keep McCown. My own personal.
If they take a young quarterback, if they draft a quarterback in the first round, I don't know that you really need Mike Glennon. You have a future quarterback then.
Correct.
Greg, what about Levante? Is he a go?
I think he is. He went again today. He passed the concussion protocols. I think he's fine in terms of the hamstring. I think the concussion's a concern, but he's back at practice. The NFL really kind of takes it out of the team's hands. It's a very specific protocol they follow, and the fact that he's practicing and practiced the last 2 days now bodes well for him being able to go and be there as a big part of this defense on Sunday.
Yeah, limited. What about Mason Foster? I know he was limited today, upgraded from Wednesday's injury report. What do you think about him going forward?
Right, I mean, that's tricky because Mason's a guy where last week, I don't think we really fully appreciated how hurt he was last week. He had missed a day because he had a baby boy born on Thursday, was limited on Friday with his Achilles. I guess we'll know more tomorrow. Achilles is another injury that's not a good injury to have in the middle of a football field where you need to be able to turn and move quickly and make some lateral movements real quick. So I would say I know better tomorrow. I mean, I think they handled things relatively well without him. You missed him, but you didn't miss him terribly on Sunday. So if they have to go without him, they'll make do with Lansana and Lemon out there with Levante David.
All right, well, Derek Anderson's going to get the start with Newton on the mend right now. Fortunately enough, the Buccaneers had an opportunity to see Derek Anderson in person. Unfortunately, the results weren't what they anticipated in Week 1.
It was a surprising result.
But it's been that way. But I don't know, Greg, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like every time they go up against a backup quarterback, they lose the football game.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you think back, it seems so long ago in Week 1 where that was a game where the Bucs could really make a splash and take out a division champion. And then it was a bonus when Newton couldn't play and they got to face Derek Anderson, and they didn't have the mobility, to worry about the quarterback scrambling. And Anderson just did exactly what he needed to do. He didn't make mistakes, moved the ball down the field, converted on third down. I think he went 24 of 34 in the game, had 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and most importantly, no turnovers. And this is a team where if they don't get takeaways, they don't really have that much else to make it easy for the offense to score points. So if he's that same guy, it's probably going to be much the same result this week.
Well, he could be the same guy, but this Buccaneer defense is not the same group.
I was just going to say that. They've improved every week for the last, month?
Up until Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. But they still didn't. I mean, they faced a Calvin Johnson, a Golden Tate, Matthew Stafford. I know the score won't indicate it, and they probably didn't play as well. But besides that game, they have improved from what they were in September and October. But, I mean, looking forward with this, do you see this defense, regardless of what happens with David and Foster, having any big impact on Carolina and Derek Anderson?
Yeah, I mean, Carolina, again, this is one of those games where you don't know which Carolina is going to show up. Is it the one that put up 41 on the Saints in New Orleans, or is it the one that lost 6 in a row and didn't look or show much of anything to make them think they're a team that should be competing for a division title with 3 weeks left in the season? If they can get to Derek Anderson, and I do think the pass rush is much better than it was in Week 1, if they can get to him and they can hit him, if they can rattle him, then it's a much different game. I mean, before Sunday and before they put up a big number in New Orleans, I would have said this is their best chance to win the rest of the year. This is a game they can win. All it takes is the defense playing at that high level they were for about 6 weeks there until Sunday, and the offense making a few plays, and you've got it. Now it seems a little harder, but we'll see. They've beaten better teams than Carolina and done on the road before.
One of the things that came out that was a positive against Carolina in Week 1 was Doug Martin. I think he rushed for over 100.
I was just going to.
Okay, you were just going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But as we know, this running game has not been able to click.
Only
They're going to need Martin. They're going to
Only-
need somebody.
Only three
Right.
games this entire year has the Buccaneers running game eclipsed the 100-yard plateau. That's pitiful.
Yeah, they rushed the ball 17 times in that first game, which
Yep.
is just way too little. It's more than they did this past Sunday, don't get me wrong. But this is a team that's not very committed to its running game. I mean, I think some of that has to do with the offensive line not playing at a high level. But, I mean, Doug Martin had 2 carries in the first half last week. Got himself, had a 9-yard run, and then got the rest of the half off. So, I think they know they have some issues with the offensive line. But if a defense knows you're not running, they just pin their ears back, and it makes a bad offensive line worse. And it certainly took its toll on Josh McCown on Sunday. So I think they have to run the ball more than they have, more than did the first time against Carolina. Whether it's Martin, whether it's Sims, they got to run the ball, and they got to move the chains running the ball too.
That's another guy who may not be here next year, Doug Martin.
What do you
Oh,
think?
absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, you've got Sims, you've got Rainey, you got James, who are all younger than he is, who are all producing. I mean, Sims isn't necessarily getting the yards running the ball, but Doug, and then there are people right now that still defend Doug Martin and think that he's stuck behind a bad offensive line. He hasn't made a very compelling case for himself moving forward right now.
No, he struggled, no doubt about that, and it's been kind of sad to see. I know earlier in the season you and I were sticking up for him, saying he's not a bust, but I don't know. Can you label him a bust now?
Well, I was thinking Jonathan Banks was a bust, but now I'm eating my words. So
Yeah.
I think Banks has got it. He's got the system down, and I wasn't quite sure whether or not he could be a system corner, but who knows? He may turn into be a Rondé Barber. I don't know. He's looking a lot better than I thought he would.
No, I think he has as many interceptions as any defensive back that was drafted in 13. I think he's been very good. I think he's had moving pieces all around him this season, and it's held up pretty well. So, just to see how he's matured. He's a guy that is still very young. I think he's benefited from having a guy in Alteron Burner who's been in the league for 5 years and knows his way around things. But no, I think Bucs fans have to think of Banks as one of the guys they build around moving forward.
Well, Greg, you're going to be joining me here on set next week. You got that? You got that in your calendar?
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. This is the first I heard of it, live on air. But we'll make it happen,
I thought maybe that passenger pigeon must have died or something. I don't know.
It never got to you? Are you really?
I think I can make that work.
Can you make that work?
Sure.
Okay, I got you. Has the check made your mailbox yet?
Yes, it has. Thank
Yes.
you.
Then you have to be in.
You have to
All
be.
right, you got to be in. I just wanted to make sure because I can never trust anybody that sends my mail. All right. Well, listen. I'll talk to you more about the holidays, but you can wish John a Merry Christmas because he's not going to be here.
I won't be here next week, so.
It'll be
Absolutely.
the final
Happy
show.
holidays, John.
Thanks. Happy holidays to you, too. I'm sure I'll see you in the locker room probably week after next.
Very good. Thank you guys again.
All right, thanks,
All right.
Greg.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. All right.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. You too. All right. Greg
Apparently
Allman.
that just
Oh,
message didn't happen.
Greg's a very busy guy. He's got a lot of places to go, people to meet, and this was just something that we had talked about, I don't know, a month ago or so, and months passed, and a lot of exciting things have happened over at One Buck in this last month.
Yes.
So, I can understand it, but now that I know that he's got the check in the mail, if he's
Maybe
coming,
we should put.
I'll go get him. I'll
maybe,
find
maybe
him.
we should put a messenger
I know where he
on
lives.
the plank.
I know where he lives.
You do.
I do.
Oh, that's scary.
Oh, here we go again. You got to show this picture. Is there any way you could just erase me?
I don't know. That's a pretty impressive
You
grin
like
you
that?
have on your face there.
My wife is watching tonight.
Is
Honey,
she?
why don't you call?
There you go.
I think she is. And tell me what you think about what I look like in that thing.
How about me? I've got a nice smile, right?
Yeah, you do. You look great.
Yeah.
You look fantastic. All right. Hey, Jordan, put that number back up there in case my wife is watching. Maybe she will call. All right, do that. 813-367-0171.
Oh, there it is.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
J-Mo in the back.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to tell you who we think should walk the plank, and if you want to tell us who you think should walk the plank, giddy up. And don't forget, Buckshot coming up tonight. You got the questions from Wah?
Yes, sir. I have 10 fantastic questions. Some surprises, so stay tuned. That's coming up.
I can imagine. No more tittles?
Oh, I got some tittles in this.
I'm sure you do.